In this budget, the vast majority of people are going to see tremendous benefit. They're all going to be better off.
Good evening. After 14 years in power, the Liberals introduced this budget that they hope will get them re-elected, even though voters have indicated they're ready for a change. There's a lot of new spending in these pages, $20 billion in new spending over 3 years. And most of it has already been pre-announced, like the big ticket items like free daycare. But there's still some new goodies in here for voters. So, for example, an Ontario drug and dental program for those who don't have coverage. Reimbursements max out at $400 for a single person, $700 for a family of 4. The budget also offers seniors over 75 a benefit of up to $750 a year to help them live at home. And more home care for seniors. Nursing visits will increase to 4 hours of daily care per person. So Kathleen Wynne is definitely going after the senior vote, and she's also going after young families. Take the free daycare, for example. And she's really emphasizing care in this budget. In fact, the word care is mentioned 588 times in these 308 pages. But that care is going to cost you. Are you trying to bribe voters with their own money? And aren't you just playing into Doug Ford's narrative that all the Liberals do is spend, spend, spend?
So, I mean, I'm not going to speak for the opposition and their notion of wanting to do across-the-board cuts and put people in harm's way and put our economy in harm's way. Every budget that I've delivered, and we're on our 6th now, has always been beyond election cycles. These are long-term in scope. These investments mean something not only to the people of Ontario, it'll mean something for our future generations too.
And here are some other things you need to know. Taxes will go up $200 a year for people who make over $90,000 a year. The budget will have a $6.5 billion deficit, and it doesn't project a surplus until the year 2025. Now, Doug Ford says it goes way too far and spends way too much. Andrea Horvath says it doesn't do enough.
It's amazing how they promise billions of dollars for children that haven't even been born. They're promising people that haven't even been born. I'm surprised that the finance minister and the premier are up here saying, we're giving away free cars. We're going to pay your mortgage. You get a free car, you get a free car, you get a free car. That's next on their agenda. I can assure you, when we go in there, we're going line item by line item. There's hundreds and hundreds of programs throughout this province, and every single program will be reviewed.
Kathleen Wynne's final budget falls way short of the hype and way short of what Ontarians need. This is not universal pharmacare. This is not universal dental care.
And the one thing that drives everybody crazy every year that's in the pages of this budget, way in the back, is the debt. So the good news this year is the debt is $1 billion lower than anticipated. The bad news, though, is the debt is forecast to be $308 billion. That's $7 billion more than last year. And the interest payment on that debt is $12.5 billion every year, and rising as well. And coming up, we are going to talk one-on-one with the Premier. She's going to join me, and we'll ask her some tough questions. Well, as promised, Kathleen Wynne, Premier Kathleen Wynne joins us now to discuss this budget. 308 pages, $20 billion in new spending over 3 years. Are you buying voters or bribing voters with their own money with this budget?
No, you know what this is about is recognizing that having balanced the budget, which we've done, and we've worked very hard to do that, at the same time as we made investments, because we put OHIP Plus in place, for example, so kids get free prescription medication. But people are saying to us that they need more. They need more in order to be able to care for themselves and their families. So, you know, kids who are looking for mental health supports, seniors who are looking for more care at home, young women who, particularly young women who can't find childcare, they need to know that we're going to step up and help them with those supports.
But is part of your challenge, though, as well, and what might backfire with this, is that people also want more money in their pockets. And this is ultimately going to cost taxpayers more money. So more money will be leaving their pockets.
Well, in fact, I mean, those supports that I just talked about will actually help people. So seniors who are at home, the $750 tax credit that will help them to look after themselves, that's actually going to put some money into their pockets to help them stay at home. The child care, that's going to save young families thousands of dollars, you know, on average $17,000 per child for child care. So that is about targeting those supports where people have said they need them.
But a lot of people, probably most without young children, but maybe even some with, resent that money. They're worried about that money, that $2 billion expansion for child care and where it's going to come from.
And I understand that, although, you know, we have a publicly funded education system and a publicly funded health care system that we all pay for. We have an agreement among ourselves that that's important. And this child care investment is about making sure that women can get into the workforce. We're never going to close the gender wage gap. We're never going to realize the economic productivity that comes from women in the workforce unless they can find child care. And, you know, we have put in place 100,000 childcare spaces. We're building those. We made that commitment last year. We're building those. But if people can't afford them, then it doesn't matter whether the spaces are there or not. So we're taking that next step that will allow for more economic productivity, because women will be able to get into the workforce if they choose to.
Let's switch to transit in the budget. I know a couple big asks that the City of Toronto has had for a while, particularly Mayor John Tory, is fare integration. Is that what that is with the GO Transit? You get a break if you use your Presto card, if you do a 10K ride or less.
So we're going to work with the city to figure out exactly what that design will look like. But we've been working with the municipalities on fare integration. I think this is an important step to deal with some of the congestion on the TTC, and I think the mayor has been very receptive to it.
There's no start date, though. What are you thinking?
Well, and that's he has already said today he's going to push us to do it as quickly as possible, and we want to get on that.
And what about the downtown relief line and uploading?
It's in the plan.
It's in the plan, I know, but there's no specific dollar sign beside it, just that will continue negotiations.
Yeah, well, we've made a commitment to it, and that was what the city wanted to see. Was they wanted to see that it would be in the plan, and that we would work with them to figure out start time. There already is a plan, or there's already a study in place to look at what it will cost, and so we're going to work with the city. They wanted to know that we were making a firm commitment to it, and we have.
Well, last question. Doug Ford calls it, you know, here, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, kind of like Oprah. Andrea Horvath says you're not going far enough. You know, really, your challenge is voters have indicated, at least in polls, that they want to change. Is this enough to change their minds and bring them back to the Liberal?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it is, but it is a response to what people have said they need. Doug Ford and I have a very different worldview. You know, we have very different perspectives on the reason for government, and government existing to, and in my mind, existing to do the things that we can't do by ourselves. And so we're responding to people's need for the ability to care for each other and care for themselves, and that's what this budget is about. Doug Ford wants to cut and let people fend for themselves. It's a very different worldview.
Thank you very much for joining us. What is it, 71 days till the election? Are you counting it down on your calendar? All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.